Well, hello there. It's been a minute. Anyway, we're going to talk about freeze mode today with Vesper's help. Most horse-savvy people know about fight and flight, which are the most common things we'll see when doing something new, like saddling and riding a horse for the first time. And while Vesper has worn a saddle before, I really have not put my weight on her like I am about to do in this video. So she's going to be experiencing some new things, and her go-to instinct in this particular case is going to be freeze mode. To me, freeze mode is one of the most misunderstood horse behaviors because it can be very easily mistaken as a calm, quiet horse who's standing still, when in reality they're about to explode and their nervous system is just prepping. In my experience, freeze mode is always our opportunity to help a horse regulate their nervous system right before they're about to explode. And unfortunately, a lot of training does not provide that regulation time, and that creates a lot of problems down the road. And most people who are working with horses aren't paying attention to that response. They're not seeing the expression, they're not seeing the heart rate, the breathing, the subtle muscle movements that a horse exhibits in freeze mode. And they're just assuming that everything is okay because the horse isn't going anywhere. But more often than not, it's going to be the trigger. And I see it most often with horses in the mounting process. So a lot of horses are never given the opportunity to regulate during training for saddling, for carrying a rider for the first time. It's all chaos, it's all drama, and that sticks with them, and that creates a nervous system response every time a person gets on a mounting block and becomes taller than the horse and swings a leg over the horse. If you watch carefully, she's about to go from calm and quiet to freeze mode. So when she's calm, she's still interactive with her environment. And then all of a sudden, all movement stops and it looks like a freeze frame. But it's not. Like, that's just real time freeze mode. So her expression stops, her movement stops. What you can't see is that her heart rate went up, her respiratory rate went up. And so she was dealing with the neurological fear response. And if I had pushed her in that moment or changed anything about what I was doing in that moment, it would have created the explosion. For me, when I have a horse dealing with freeze mode, I hold the space so that they can regulate their nervous system on their own terms, that they can bring their breathing down, they can bring their heart rate down, and I'm not stimulating them in any way. And they'll learn to trust their emotional state, and they'll learn to trust my guidance through that emotional state without me triggering anything. And all this time, I'm still going through all the itty-bitty steps of things she might be experiencing with the riding process. So I'm putting my weight on her, I'm patting her sides, touching her butt, moving my legs. I'm going to slide down her side as if I'm dismounting so that she's prepared for anything that might happen once I do get on. So after that initial freeze, she entered into freeze mode a couple more times, and see if you can notice that they get shorter and shorter in interval every time that she enters. She starts to bring herself out of freeze mode consistently, either with a little bit of help from me. I might do a little bit of tapping or patting. So she's about to enter into another freeze mode. And just watch her expression, watch the way she kind of changes her physique. You can almost see her gears turning. So she's still interactive, she's still kind of with me and paying attention, and all of a sudden, out. And in this situation, she's blinking, she's processing information, which is a really good sign to me. So I waited out. And my cue to release here was that her breathing changed. She all of a sudden took a normal breath as opposed to the quick, fast, frightened breathing. So I stood up. So at this point, it's been about 10 minutes of, getting up on the mounting block, putting weight on her, doing random stuff, and her timer is about to be up. So I don't want to push her past her threshold, but I also want to end on a positive note. So I'll do the whole process one more time, try to make it as positive as I can, let her work through some moments of freeze. And so this time she's actually in pretty good shape. She kind of kept herself composed, a little freeze there, but mostly that was influenced by something outside of the arena. But with how quick she came back, that's my cue to be done and call it a day. And I always end a session by taking her tack off, taking her halter off, letting her loose, and usually she'll just hang out with me, and that's a reward for her. Hopefully this video was helpful for all those learners out there, and stay tuned for more.